just for a few more minutes, because this is a really important case study. And this is what happens if you're the fourth case study at the end of a 7.5 hour trek. So Hugo, this is an important, very tiny though, way for us to find out about Seahive and the nature of the work that you've been doing in making visible the invisible in these systems. Over to you.
Thank you very much, and well, great hike. I think being on the peak is never an easy effort, right? So you've been working as a team, and I've been trying just to be around as maybe as a guide into the mapping part. The approach here is the case is about the Seahive and the Conservation Alliance for Seafood Solutions. So I'm gonna share my screen, and you will see what it's all about. So I'm gonna start just by presenting the institution, which is Solutions for Seafood, is the website. And they are an organization that is actually agglutinating or putting together all the CSR departments of different fishing industries, and they are focusing in sustainable seafood, but also putting NGOs and different actors of the stakeholder ecosystem. So what we did there was to create a mapping tool that allows them to see the self-emergence. As in any given ecosystem, we know that self-emergence is one of the properties. So we cannot actually stop diversity to happen, but we can encourage it and try to connect it. They actually have written an article on how this network map is helping the movement, and how it's coordinating different people just to find the collaboration opportunities. So the tool goes like this. You get into, let's just put it since the beginning, and you get into a user, and you can put your name and an email and a password. And then you have like 3 different steps. The first one is you create your profile, then you explore your connections, and you also explore the Earth map. So let's go and see what it's all about. In this case, this is my profile. So I could be anyone in the network. And we have a short bio, a LinkedIn, the different skills, and the name of the organization that I'm representing. And then we have a profile that is called the Hive profile, because we have hexagons, but we have also just 6 different connectors. So by having this fractal approach and this visual approach, we are trying to get focused. Not everything could be there, but specific topics that are really important. Like, for example, the company type. And in the company type, it works like a small survey. But in this case, for example, you have just maximum 2, and there are multiple choices. So if I change from company to consultancy, I need to unselect and then select again. And then the whole system it's updating on its own. So it is a dynamic profile that helps us to see where we are at the moment. So now is different answer. And then we can see the different regions of work, the topic areas, the species focus that could be also interesting here, because we are working in different kind of clusters, the partnerships that we are holding, and even an opening question. And I want to say thank you anyway to Leslie and to Steve and to Johnny, because they've been great supporters of this work. And then we have also include here a recommendation. So whenever you have these 2 kinds of questions, then you also have a match. So this match is giving us the opportunity to see who's there and what kind of things they are doing that could be relevant for us, and we can also see their hives. So this is helpful just to get to know your ecosystem and to keep exploring. And this is just one perspective on the profile. So we can keep exploring here. Then we go to the network, and this network map helps us to see the same kind of questions, the same kind of answers that I have. And for example, if I'm working with the octopus, I can click here and see who is there also working on the octopus. So that will give me an opportunity to see how the cluster looks like, and I can do the same for all of them. So for example, if I'm also trying to see like who is in policy and governance reform, then I can see this group. That will give me immediately like a challenge room, as we are trying, as we are calling it now. And then we will also have the territorial approach, so to see who is there around us, because this is also very important. So, for example, if we are in the globe and we want to see, let's say in the Yucatan area or in the Mayan Peninsula, who is there, then we can click here and then see that the steward is working there in Kobe. I don't know, maybe one of you even know him. And then we'll see the answers and what are the matches for him as well. We have this platform in different languages. We can enter names and also find people that are important for us, just to see their hive. And we can also include different maps. So if different organizations, they have different geolocated information, they can upload it here in a specific format. So this is just for connecting the stakeholder ecosystem. And then I will show you a different tool, but very similar, that I think is very important for you to see, because this is Virtual Gaia. And in Virtual Gaia, which is the like a more in-depth tool, we are using also in the globe, which is the same one that we have in the Seahive, but this is with a different purpose, more territorial, and that's why I think it's important for you. We see the weather and see how it is not just capturing carbon maybe, but also producing humidity, and that gives us some data together. And we can see a region in Panama, for example, and then in this region we can analyze the different layers. So if we want to tell our story about how this territory is composed, then we can unselect and select again, like the border, the watersheds, the river. Let me just approach it a little bit more so you can have a better look. And we can also see the properties in the preserve, because oftentimes we deal with private properties. We can see the land use, and if we have this information from the past, from the present, we can also predict the future in a numeric way. And here, yeah, and here we'll have a way to see the dashboard of progress. So this will be past, present, and future. And this is a way to represent complexity with multiple indicators in the way of the rings of the trees. So we can tell the story of our own territory, of the problems that we have. So for example, in Panama, they didn't used to recognize indigenous rights. Now they're recognizing it. And in the future, we want this recognition to be regenerative. For doing this, we're using a color palette, a color gradient that goes from degenerative to sustainable to resilient to regenerative to thriving. So this is just one of the approaches. We can also use it for rivers or specific areas in the world. So I think this could be very, very relevant for what you are doing. For example, in this case, we can also put NFTs. And the last let's say slides, because of the things that I'm hearing here, it is really that it is about treaties, banks, NGOs, people, projects, research centers, universities, maps. And this is giving us intricate portraits where we can link documents, image, data, voices, and around the territory, having something that is useful to communicate from the bottom up and top down approach as well at the same time. I don't know if there is any doubt. I try to be as quick as possible because of the time.
A lifetime of incredible work in 5 minutes. What's your, I want to get a general feel for what people's reaction was to what Hugo just presented.
Yeah, well,
How much time did it take you?
It's a live project, yeah.
Okay.
But let's say that each project, it takes in between 3 to 6 months to complete it once that the funding is there. And it really, since we come from the ground as well, as I was telling you, I used to work in El Cuyo in alliance with the environmental authorities in Yucatan, and also with the local NGOs. So the bridge that we're trying to, the gap that we're trying to bridge, it is this bottom-up approach, because we want to give voice to the local people as well, and we want to connect different stakeholders. So I think once that the tool is there, it's a ever-evolving tool that could keep bringing people into collaboration opportunities.
Hugo has really been influenced by biomimicry. It's core to what he's doing, which I think it makes it particularly interesting about a vision of where we want to go to. I'd suggest that if people are interested in seeing more, to set up another meeting with Hugo to be able to get him to introduce the platform in more detail.
Mhm.
The beauty about it is that it's self-generating, is that you don't have to be an organization. You are a human on the planet in a region that can connect and associate with others with your own agency. In the way that we've used Hugo's mapping, it gave enormous amount of agency to people to come in and see where their regenerative work was playing and who they were connected to that they had no idea about before they entered the hive.
And
Okay.
We can
if you
use
want-
it way, right? We could this software, we could do our own hive, but entirely different sort of set of networking. What's the
Totally.
software you did it with?
Totally. There are many hives, but let's say that we can do the Nature Conservancy hive, so you can actually bring all the ecosystem of stakeholders into that hive, and it is really a community platform that is trying to enhance transparency and to help decision-making process, because what we realize is that from the desk, it's very difficult to understand what is happening on the ground. So the big challenge of science right now is on communication. So as Steve was saying, I'm in biomimicry, and one of my biggest learning is that biomimicry, well, nature is beautiful and it is attractive. So if you are not attractive as a flower, it's very difficult to attract the pollinator, right? So you really need to make information beautiful, so you can be compelling with your message. And since you are a non-confrontational organization, I think this is the way to go, right? We need to bring on board those individuals inside the organizations that could help us actually to build this movement together, because it is true that in every organization you can find one champion that could actually open the way for you.
So the person who created Seahive with Hugo was very keen on you entering a profile and trying it out. If you'd like to do that, I put the link in the chat.
Hugo, there's so much,
Yeah.
this is always such brilliance. And there's so many other applications that Hugo has developed with this that is really worthy of exploration. And I just want to, this one,
This is one that we did with Leslie, for example,
Yes.
and it is just a different representation of the same. So for you to have different images.
it connected global regenerative agents around the world. So lots of different ways that it can be developed and created, and the hive is up to the initial organization to determine what's important for your hive. And then you go from there. So thank you, Hugo, so much. Oh, okay, everyone.